Welcome back. YouTuber formerly known as MasterBoris, AC6, the symbol, the Omega, the performer, all the whole 9 yards, chicken nuggets with some hot sauce on them combos. Welcome to this channel. So, we're going to do another reaction video. And this is a serious topic here. It's called Hookup Culture is Bad for the Boys Too. And I want to see what this young lady is saying right here. Her name is Patience Xina. We're going to get right into this video to see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? When I do reaction videos, we react to it together. You know what I'm saying? Until I say otherwise, because there's probably videos I might go back because I've seen them before and I want to spread awareness or make an example out of that said video that I already watched. But other than that, we watch stuff together for the first time. So let's just get right into it, shall we? Let's do it. Let's do it right now. All right. I'm about to make this screen up a little bigger, real quick. And here we go. Let's do it.
Hello and welcome back to my channel. This video is a little bit late, but as promised, I am going to today discuss the effects of hookup culture on men. So oftentimes you probably hear people say things like hookup culture only benefits men, and that's partially true. So hookup culture does predominantly benefit men, but it only really benefits a small minority of men. In fact, some men can't even take part in hookup culture even if they wanted to. And we can see that this is true because there's been a rise in male virginity as the years have gone by. 1 in 3 men are either virgins or have not had sex in the last year. This large number of men who aren't able to find female companionship
and that's a good thing, believe it or not. Okay. I wish I was a virgin, you know what I'm saying? Saving it for the right woman to have my energy, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that, fellas. If you are one, you know, just keep at it, you know. Wait till you find the right person for you and to marry and have kids with. So there you go.
Or female partners is also a big part in why we've seen massive explosions on platforms like OnlyFans, as one of the most popular genres on OnlyFans is known as GFE, which basically stands for the girlfriend experience. Because what's happening is men are basically paying OnlyFans models to act as a substitute for a girlfriend. I don't really know what that consists of, like what kind of content that is, but yeah, they basically are paying these models.
Girlfriend experience is what it is. Do whatever as a girlfriend. You know, 9 times out of 10 is mostly about sex. You know, so that consists that, and most of the time that happens. And then, you know, they pay them overnight. But y'all doing it wrong. Y'all need to pay them to leave, not to stay. I mean, if you're about that life.
To pretend to be their girlfriend. Another byproduct of this is the rise in the manosphere. So this is where you'll find your red pill content and your black pill content. And so
sweetheart, not to burst your bubble, but those guys are bad examples. Continue.
I might butcher the explanations of these two sides, but from my understanding, red pill is when you are focus more on self-improvement, so they kind of try and help men improve their physique and their game and stuff in order to try and attract women. And then the black pill, from my understanding anyways, it seems as though within the black pill they believe that appearance is the most important thing within within dating. So they basically put forward the idea that wherever you land.
What's up with all these pills, man? I don't mean to stop our video so much, but what's up with all these pills, man? I don't even know the black pill. You know what I'm saying? I recently know about the red pill. So we got white, green. I heard Austin was saying that I guess the Passport Brothers is the green pill. What's the pink? What's the purple? What's yellow? What? We got all these pills, all these jelly beans, and we ain't eating them. I don't know.
On the Chad meter, shall we say, in terms of your appearance, is what's going to determine your success in dating. That's my understanding. The red pill's a little bit more optimistic. They think there's still stuff that can be done. Whereas the black pill is kind of like you're born with it or not, kind of. That's the energy I get from the two. But I could be wrong in my interpretation, but from what I've seen, that's the difference between these two these two pills or whatever. So how did we get here? How did we get into a situation where there's an increase in incels, there's an increase in lonely men paying OnlyFans models to pretend to be their girlfriend, an increase in men paying money for courses to manosphere content creators? Well, the answer to how we got here is, first of all, the sexual revolution, because the sexual revolution detached reproduction from sex and made sex more so about pleasure and therefore turned it into a leisure activity. Now,
Yep, it's an activity. You know, this hookup culture is run rampant. Hypersexuality, you know, overindulgence, things of that nature that, you know, women are doing here in the lands of Babylon. And men, you know, for the guys that are getting it in the hookup culture. You know, get it how you fit in, but in the long run, it's going to be very bad for you. You know, especially for the females, but including men, as she's going to explain in this video. So, continue.
this, accompanied with modern inventions such as contraception, helped to destigmatize casual sex. So the sexual revolution, along with contraception, created the perfect foundations for hookup culture. And what caused hookup culture to explode was dating apps. The reason why hookup culture is so prevalent today is because of dating apps. Right
Not
now,
a fan
men
of
are
it.
in control of the mating strategy. And I know that there's going to be a lot of men watching this video who are going to say that's not true, this is all because of women, etc., etc. As it stands right now,
It's
that
both.
small minority of men that are benefiting from hookup culture are the ones who are setting the terms for today's mating strategy. I'll explain to you why men are the ones who are causing hookup culture, but women are enabling it. So there were some studies done on campuses, and what they were comparing was to see the differences between female mating strategy and male mating strategy. So what they found on these campuses was that whichever sex was the minority was the one who got to dictate the mating strategy, because they were the minority and therefore the highest in demand. What they observed on all of these campuses was that if the women were the ones who were the minority, these campuses had higher rates of monogamy, because women's natural dating strategy is to be monogamous. But on the campuses where men were the minority, these campuses had higher rates of hookup culture, because men's natural dating strategy is polygamy, which is when a man has multiple women at once. So the reason why we have higher rates of hookup culture in our
Polygamy is marriage. You're married to more than one wife. Polygyny is, relationships with more than one woman, or poly. Yeah, that sounds about right for what she is saying. But I wanted her to get to the nitty gritty on why. But let's continue.
regular day-to-day society is because our dating nowadays is predominantly done through dating apps. And the issue with that is that there's only a small minority of men that women actually want within these dating apps. Because dating app data shows that women only swipe right. I can't remember which way is the good way and which way is the bad way, but whichever one's the good way, women only swipe that way 15% of the time. So what's happening is, because there's only a small minority of men that women want, that means that the men, because they're the minority, they've got to set the terms. So what we're seeing happening on these apps is what we were seeing happening on those campus studies. And in the same way that on those campus studies, we saw that if you have a small minority of men that most of the women are trying to pursue, the men get to set the terms and they will have hookup culture, because a male's natural dating strategy is polygamy. I hope that made sense, because I feel like that was a bit complicated. But that is basically the reason why hookup culture is so prevalent
That's
today.
just a study,
And
though.
women have enabled it because women have decided to comply with this standard as opposed to rejecting it. And the reason why women are complying with it is because we were raised under the sexual revolution, which has taught us that sex is nothing more than a leisure activity and casual sex is empowering and freeing, even though most women don't actually truly find
And that's
it.
what's getting us messed up. Unwanted pregnancies, dysfunctional relationships, toxic relationships, diseases you can't get rid of. Like, persevere on, protect yourself. You can't just throw your dangling out willy-nilly. And anybody. Any chick you want to, smash, you got to, my mom, she would always tell me, when I was coming of age, don't lose your fingers. A lot of you lost your, not just fingers, but your head, shoulders, knees, toes, all that, man. There's no coming back from y'all. There's no coming back. Y'all are in a huge predicament right now when it comes down to sexual activities and your sexual energy, and y'all not protecting it. It's just out there. But yeah, continue.
It to be that way, because if it was, then we wouldn't have so many bitter women saying that men are trash. Which brings me to my next point. Because most women are trying to pursue the same small minority of men, and these men are exploring and enjoying themselves by having multiple women at once, they're not really looking to settle down with any of these women, because why would they when they've got all the options in the world? And so what tends to happen is they'll mess around with these girls and just have casual sex with them but never commit to them, and these women will eventually want more from them, because as much as the feminists have told us that we can have casual sex just like men can and it's nothing to us, the reality is we are biologically different. The reason why women tend to develop feelings first during these friends with benefits situations is because when women sleep with men, we release a hormone called oxytocin, and this oxytocin is known as a bonding hormone. It causes us to form attachments and bonds with the person that we're sleeping with.
She's going to say exactly
and so
what I just said.
You have a friends with benefits
I know where she's
situation
going
with
with
a guy. You're releasing this hormone when you sleep together, and so you are developing an attachment to them, and that's the reason why women typically tend to be the ones who develop feelings first during these situationships. And this is usually why a lot of these situationships end, is because the woman wants more but the guy doesn't, because men don't release oxytocin when they're sleeping with you. Like, men have oxytocin too, but they don't release it in the same way that women do. So this is why it's a lot easier for guys to have casual sex and to sleep with loads of people and never develop feelings or get attached or anything like that. Whereas it's not the same for women, because our biology is not the same. Regardless, women still engage in this anyway, because most of them don't actually know this information, and this has polluted the dating pool, because what will typically happen is a woman will get with one of these top 15% guys who has no intention of settling down yet because he's in his prime, and then she'll develop feelings for him, she'll want a relationship with him, he's not really interested in doing that, so then they go apart. And then the problem is, if
that's why you gotta be careful. That's why there's sometimes I feel like I understand why some women are crazy, because the guys they're dealing with on that level, you spreading your sexual energy and you don't want them, but they just be like, yo, they get disgruntled and bitter, and they do it so much. Women do it so much to themselves, they have the inability to pair bond. So she pretty much just explained what I stated already.
She experiences this multiple times. She will eventually develop resentment and bitterness towards men, because she thinks that all men are the same and that all men are trash. And then she will go back out into the world with this new traumatized outlook. And so this is a problem for the other, say, 85% of guys, because they all kind of get lumped in together into this whole men are trash thing, when really it's the men that women are dealing with that are trash, because most women are pursuing the same small minority of men, and they're all being screwed over by that same small minority of men. So the reason why most women think men are trash is because they're all sleeping with the same guys. So far I do feel like I've already spoken about the negative effects of the 85% of men. And to recap what those are, it's that they have higher rates of loneliness, because they are invisible to most women, because most women are concentrating all of their attention to that top 15% of men. The second consequence of that is that these men are becoming quite bitter and resentful of women because of the current dating scene. I get the feeling of being resentful towards people who've made you feel worthless. I get that. However, I think it makes more sense to be angry at the culture as opposed to angry at the individuals who've been raised by said culture. Do you know what I mean? For the men who get to participate in hookup culture because you are one of the studs, your time is also limited. It's all fun and games when you're young, but if you are one of the men who are considered very attractive and you are very popular with the ladies, you have a certain time frame to jump out of that hookup culture lifestyle. Otherwise, you too will have the same negative consequences that women have for taking part in it. So in my last video, I shared a video of a woman who didn't prioritize settling down when she was younger, and she was discussing the struggles of being single and unmarried at 46. And today I'm also going to share a story of a man and his experience. Yeah, let's look at it from a man point of view. So someone posted on Quora, is it hard to live as a bachelor your whole life? And so this was the top reply, and it was really popular. It got 1.1 million views and 21,000 likes. And so this is what they said. Yes, it sucks, and it sucks more as you get older. Speaking as a single 54-year-old man who has never been married, I can tell you that being alone as you get older is a scary and unpleasant proposition. As you get older, you become more aware and sure of your values and what you want. If you are not careful, you become inflexible and unable to negotiate those values. In the meantime, I see around me people my age who not only have experienced the trials, pain, and joy of child rearing, but are becoming grandparents. For a long time, while they were changing diapers and coaching Little League, I was practicing for triathlons, traveling the world, doing whatever activity struck my fancy, and driving expensive cars. But they were the winners in the long run. Yes, some, perhaps many of them divorced, but they still have their families and children. They experienced the joys of transferring their knowledge and love to another generation of themselves, and they formed intimate bonds with someone special that exceeded mere friendship. I don't regret the good times I had, or the adventures, or the exciting romantic rendezvous, but I think all those things pale in comparison to sharing consistent, cohesive moments with someone you build a future with and plan to grow old with. In addition, the silence of being alone is deafening. You can fill your hours with activities, reading, volunteering, and more, but coming home to an empty house and wondering who will find you if you die alone in the middle of the night, and who will even care, is one of the most pathetic fears of an aging bachelor's life. I still live in hope that somewhere out there is the love of my life, waiting to be discovered somehow, but it's with increasing fear and doubt that this hope is threatened. So those are the confessions of someone who chose the life of being a...
Well, so, being a bachelor, has its pros and cons. We ain't, listen, we can talk about females all day long till we blue in the face about how when they get older and they doing the same thing us men doing, with this hookup culture and everything, just want casual sex and whatnot, that they gonna die alone. But there's some men that are suffering the same thing. I would say they have better chances of finding someone as they get older, because men were different. Our values go up as we age. Our money goes up as we age. Supposed to anyway. But as for women, when it is different, from us, where mainly it's about beauty and how they look. And that goes down as they get older, and values might decrease, or their values might go up because of their wisdom, how they've grown to understand things in life, and how they understand how they are and what their worlds are as a woman, same as a man. Okay, we got to understand our roles, but it does happen to men where they are successful, they're financially stable, they have a nice house, and they live alone. And they're lonely, they're sad, because they can't find a woman of their dreams, the love of their life. Because they played around way too much in this dating game and this hookup culture. They played with it so much that there's no coming back. Or, the worst case scenario, as I stated early on in the video, what could happen to men when they partake in this hookup culture, overindulging it.
The Bachelor. It kind of reminded me a bit of something that Joe Rogan said. If I find the clip, I'll put it in the video.
There's psychological needs that are just as valuable and important as physical needs. Like, we know we have needs for nutrients. We know we have needs for water. We have needs psychological for all sorts of different things. Our communities are incredibly important. Love is incredibly important. Family is incredibly important. You know, I know some people that are older men that have been bachelors their whole lives, and they're childless, and now they're, you know, they don't have a deep connection with anybody, and they get to this very weird, strange place where they're like, is this it? Now I'm 70 years old.
Like I just said, it happens. And it don't just happen to females. It happens to males as well. You know, we can go through the same things. You know, mentally, physically, psychologically, and also sexually. You got to the point you had sex so much you got sexually constipated that there's no meaning into it because you're used to doing it so much. You know, especially, you know, from women. You know, like I said, they do it so much to so many guys. Have so many souls within their bodies, they unable to pair bond, and that's the real thing. It's not just physical or sexual; it's spiritual too. Spiritual energy does come into play when you do stuff like that.
And I've never really had children, and I don't know what to do, and this is my life now, and it's. They've all their friends have had families now, and their families, a lot of times the kids are grown up, and it becomes very, very strange.
The ultimate final destination of hookup culture, for those who aren't able to get out of it quick enough, is loneliness. In that time that you're spending having casual, meaningless hookups or casual, meaningless situationships, that is time that you are taking away from finding someone you can actually have a meaningful relationship with and potentially have a family with, if that's something that you want for yourself. The issue is that there are people who do want that, who would like to have that, but they don't prioritize it. And they kind of leave it too late. But the problem is, are your options still going to be as vast as they are when you are at your prime? That's something to consider, because the worst thing that seems to keep happening to people is that they end up dying alone by default. But that's really all there is to say on that. I wanted to just talk about the negative effects on hookup culture on men too, because I don't think that the negative effects on hookup culture are limited to women. And I did think it would also be interesting just to understand how hookup culture became so prevalent and so prominent within our society. And I do think that dating apps have played a massive, massive role in getting us to where we are, of course, assisted with feminism and the sexual revolution. So dismantling hookup culture completely would be very complicated, because you'd have to completely reshape culture. You'd have to completely reshape society. You'd have to make it more common for people to meet in real life again, as opposed to dating apps. You'd also have to have all the women come to an agreement that they're no longer going to sleep with men they're not in a relationship with, and I don't know how realistic that is. So I have no idea whether or not hookup culture can be dismantled or not, because, like I said, all of the propaganda around the sexual revolution has gotten a lot of people thinking that casual sex is empowering. So you'd have to be completely going against what people
and it is bamboozling a lot of women. It's bamboozling a lot of women. She's wrapping this video up. It's bamboozling a lot of women here. And you gotta understand, man, it's all propaganda, bro. And you gotta understand, and this is why on this channel, if you a thoroughbred, this should not offend you. This is a channel where I also hold men accountable here. Not just women, men too. Because what we do, they're going to do as well. You understand? They look up to us men. And if they see that we're doing something, they want to do it too. Women think they are big as you, which they're not. Okay? They think, well, I can rack so many bodies too. No, you cannot, sis. Okay? You cannot. So, fellas, we got to take into consideration what we put out there in the universe. Because we are the leaders. We lead. That is our role. And we have to have some discernment of what actions we put out there, because they always gonna follow suit, good or bad, because women are a reflection of men, especially your woman that you are with in a concrete relationship. So hopefully y'all take that into consideration and don't be a pussy hound. But yeah, let me know in the comments what y'all think. Like, subscribe to this video. Got some bangers for y'all. I'm here. Hopefully you enjoy it. But yeah, this is your boy MasterBoris, OmegaBoris, the performer, the symbol, the Omega. And I'm out.